Beloved soul, you are on the precipice of a personal revelation. The angels have guided you to this exact moment because a long, silent truth is about to speak, and it will come from a familiar heart, where heaven's confidential messages are delivered directly to your spirit. This is not a message about the future of another, but a shocking disclosure about you. If you have felt a strange, electric anticipation in the air around your relationships, or a deep sense that a hidden truth is seeking the light, this word is your divine alert. Before we uncover this pivotal communication, ensure you are fully tuned to this frequency of revelation. Click subscribe. It is your commitment to receiving heaven's updates on your life's narrative. When this message strikes you as the truth you have been sensing, leave a comment below with "The truth is here," or acknowledge the shift you feel. Your recognition creates a powerful resonance within our community. Now, steady your heart. Listen beyond the surface. What you are about to hear is the preview of a conversation that will redefine a key relationship in your life. Something unexpected is about to reach you through someone you love, not from a stranger, not from someone distant, from a heart already connected to yours, from a soul who has walked beside you in some form, from a voice you recognize. This news is not small. This news is not random. This news is not accidental. It carries weight. It carries truth. It carries confirmation. And it is about you. You have been sensing it. That strange feeling that something is shifting. That quiet pressure in your chest that comes and goes. That subtle knowing you cannot explain. That is not imagination. That is alignment. Heaven has been rearranging pieces behind the scenes. Doors you thought were sealed have been loosening their hinges. Paths you assumed were closed forever have been quietly reopening. Not because you forced anything, not because you begged hard enough, but because the season has changed. You are stepping into a chapter you once cried yourself to sleep asking for. I know you have felt tired, not just physically, soul tired, the kind of tired that sleep cannot fix, the kind that comes from carrying hope while pretending you are fine. You kept showing up even when no one saw how hard it was. You kept loving even after being disappointed. You kept believing even when doubt tried to swallow you whole. Heaven saw that, every ounce of it. Psalm 34:18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." You were never abandoned in your brokenness. You were never overlooked in your silence. You were never forgotten in your waiting. You were being prepared. The news coming is not meant to confuse you. It is meant to clarify. It is not meant to hurt you. It is meant to heal you. It is not meant to reopen wounds. It is meant to close cycles. This message arriving through someone you love will carry three things: truth you were not told, feelings that were not expressed, and intentions that were misunderstood. You have questioned your worth more times than you admit. You have wondered if you mattered as much as you gave. You have replayed conversations in your mind, searching for what you did wrong. Let me be clear. You were not too much. You were not hard to love. You were not asking for impossible things. You were asking the wrong people to meet you at a level only healed souls can reach. That is not your failure. That is your growth revealing where you no longer belong. The person who will bring this news has been wrestling internally. They have replayed moments too. They have felt the weight of what was left unsaid. They have carried regret longer than you realize. You may think they moved on easily. They did not. You may think they forgot. They did not. You may think you were a small chapter. You were not. You were a turning point. Some people enter your life not to stay forever, but to awaken something eternal inside you. And you did that. The news coming will not necessarily look the way you expect. It may arrive as an apology. It may arrive as a confession. It may arrive as a question. It may arrive as an invitation, but it will arrive with honesty. John 8:32 says, "You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." This truth is not just for them. It is for you. You have been carrying emotional weight that does not belong to you anymore. You have been blaming yourself for choices you did not make. You have been punishing yourself for lessons you already learned. That ends now. You are allowed to release what no longer matches who you are becoming. The reason this message is arriving now is because your heart is finally strong enough to receive it without breaking. Earlier in your journey, this news would have shattered you. It would have reopened wounds you did not yet know how to close. But you have grown. You have matured. You have learned how to breathe through discomfort. You have learned how to sit with truth without collapsing. You are not the same person you were. And heaven celebrates that. There is also something else coming with this message. Validation. Not the kind that makes you dependent. Not the kind that defines your worth. But the kind that reminds you that you were not crazy. You were not imagining things. You were not wrong about what you felt. Your intuition was speaking truth before logic could catch up. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight." Your path has been winding, but it has not been wasted. Every delay was protection. Every rejection was redirection. Every ending was clearing space. The news coming will reveal why certain things could not move forward then. Not because you were unworthy, not because you were incapable, but because timing matters in heaven. What is being prepared now requires the version of you that exists today, not the broken version, not the desperate version, not the self-abandoning version, the healed version, the grounded version, the self-respecting version. That is who you are now, and that is who the universe responds to. I know you still have moments where doubt whispers. I know you still have days where loneliness creeps in quietly. I know you still question if love will ever feel safe. It will. But safe does not mean perfect. Safe means honest. Safe means consistent. Safe means mutual effort. The message coming through someone you love is a bridge, not necessarily a destination. A bridge between who you were and who you are becoming. A bridge between confusion and clarity. A bridge between old pain and new peace. You do not need to chase this. You do not need to force this. You do not need to manipulate timing. It is already in motion. Your only assignment right now is to remain open. Not desperate, not guarded. Open. Open to truth. Open to healing. Open to receiving. Isaiah 60:22 says, "When the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen." Not when you are ready. Not when they are ready. When the time is right, and the time is approaching. I draw closer now, not in distance, but in awareness, because what is unfolding around you is delicate, sacred, and precise. Nothing about this moment is rushed. Nothing about this message is accidental. Nothing about your position in this season is misplaced. You are standing in a quiet doorway between who you were and who you are becoming. Most people never realize when they reach this threshold, but you have felt it. You have felt more introspective, more selective, more aware of your energy. less willing to tolerate what once felt normal. That is not isolation. That is elevation. The person who will bring this message has been circling their thoughts around you more than you know. Your name crosses their mind in the smallest moments. When they hear a song, when they pass a familiar place, when something reminds them of a version of themselves they used to be, you represent a crossroads in their memory. Before you, they were operating unconsciously. After you, they became aware, not fully healed, not fully transformed, but awakened. Some awakenings are uncomfortable. Some awakenings feel like loss before they feel like growth. They did not know how to handle what you triggered inside them, not because you did anything wrong, but because you reflected back parts of themselves they were avoiding. You mirrored their wounds. You mirrored their fears. You mirrored their potential, and that scared them. So they retreated, not away from you, but away from themselves. They tried to convince themselves that walking away was strength. They told themselves they were fine. They told themselves you were better off without them. But the truth has been knocking quietly on their heart. You did not leave their soul. They may not say this out loud at first. They may stumble over their words. They may speak awkwardly. They may not express everything perfectly. But underneath their delivery will be sincerity. They want you to know something. They see you now, not the version they met back then, not the version that was still learning boundaries, not the version that overgave. They see who you have become, stronger, calmer, more grounded, more self-respecting, and they recognize that they underestimated you. This realization has humbled them. Humility is not loud. It does not announce itself. It shows up as quiet reflection, as remorse, as a desire to make things right in some form. That is the energy they are moving through now. You may wonder why this matters if you have already started healing. You may wonder why heaven would reopen a door you thought was closed, not to pull you backward, not to trap you in nostalgia, not to confuse you, but to return your power. Some closures cannot happen alone. Some cycles require truth from both sides. You have done deep inner work. You have forgiven in your heart. You have released in silence. Now the universe is balancing the scale, not for revenge, not for validation addiction, but for completion. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven." This season is called resolution. Resolution does not always mean reunion. Resolution does not always mean starting over. Sometimes resolution means understanding. Sometimes resolution means hearing the words you never got. Sometimes resolution means realizing you were never crazy. That alone can shift a lifetime of self-doubt. The message they bring may include words like, "I am sorry. I didn't know how to show up. I wasn't ready. I messed up. You deserved better." Listen carefully when you hear them, not just to their words, but to your body, to your intuition, to the calm or tension inside you. Your body will tell you what is aligned. You are not obligated to fix anything. You are not obligated to resume anything. You are not obligated to offer access. You are only obligated to honor yourself. That is your new standard. If their message aligns with growth, honesty, and accountability, you will feel a gentle peace. If it carries manipulation, excuses, or blame, you will feel tightness. Trust that. God gave you discernment for a reason. James 1-5 says, "If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given." You have been asking. You have been praying. You have been seeking clarity. This is part of the answer. Another layer of this message is about something you blamed yourself for. There was a moment in your past you replayed often. A conversation, a decision, a turning point. You wondered if you said too much. You wondered if you waited too long. You wondered if you ruined something. The truth is simpler. You were honest in a world that avoids honesty. That is not a flaw. You were vulnerable in a culture that hides. That is not weakness. You were willing to try. That is courage. The person bringing this message now understands that. They understand that you were not asking for too much. You were asking the wrong person at the wrong stage of their growth. That awareness carries weight. It may not undo the past, but it heals how you carry it. You deserve that relief. There is also another truth coming. Something about how they truly felt for you. Not what they showed, not what they said, but what they suppressed. They minimized their feelings because they did not trust themselves. They downplayed the connection because it scared them. You felt it anyway, because soul connections do not need verbal confirmation to be real. They may finally admit that you meant more than they allowed themselves to acknowledge. That can be validating. That can be emotional. That can also be heavy. So I speak this gently. You do not need their confession to prove your worth. Your worth was never in question. This moment is not about feeding ego. It is about closing energetic loops. You have been carrying fragments of unfinished emotional business. They have been carrying fragments too. Heaven is bringing pieces back together so both sides can lay them down. After this message arrives, you will feel lighter, not because everything becomes perfect, but because something unresolved finally finds a place to rest. Peace does not always come from getting what we want. Sometimes it comes from understanding why we did not get it. You are approaching that understanding. I remain with you in this space because what is unfolding is not only about closure, it is about redirection. It is about positioning. It is about preparing your heart for a new caliber of experience. Many believe that healing is an ending. In truth, healing is a doorway. When the message from this person reaches you, something inside you will quietly shift. Not loudly, not dramatically, subtly. You may not even realize it at first, but a weight you have carried for years will begin to dissolve. A question you have asked yourself in silence will lose its urgency. A narrative you repeated about yourself will soften. You will start to see your past through a gentler lens, not as proof that you failed, not as evidence that you were unlovable, but as training in boundaries, training in discernment, training in self-respect. You could not have become who you are now without what you survived. Romans 8:28 says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called accordingly to his purpose." Nothing in your story has been wasted. Not the heartbreak, not the confusion, not the nights you cried and still went to work the next morning, not the times you loved someone who could not love you back properly. All of it carved depth into your soul. Depth is what allows you to recognize real connection when it appears. The message coming does not pull you backward. It pushes you forward by removing residue of self-blame, residue of unanswered questions, residue of false conclusions. Once this residue lifts, you will notice a new kind of clarity. You will start to feel drawn toward things that once felt intimidating. You will feel more confident speaking your truth. You will feel less interested in chasing and more interested in choosing. That is evolution. You are moving into a phase where love is not something you beg for. Love becomes something you allow. The person from your past is not necessarily your future partner. Sometimes People return as messengers, not destinations. They bring a key. You unlock a door. You walk forward. This is that kind of moment. Another shift will also occur. Your standards will quietly rise. Not in arrogance, not in rigidity, but in self-awareness. You will no longer feel attracted to potential without action. You will no longer romanticize inconsistency. You will no longer explain away red flags. You will crave emotional safety. Emotional safety feels calm. It feels steady. It feels honest. It does not feel like guessing. It does not feel like chasing. It does not feel like anxiety. The news you receive helps calibrate your nervous system to recognize this difference. That calibration prepares you for what is coming next. And something is coming next. A new connection is forming on the horizon. Not rushed, not forced, not chaotic, intentional. This connection will feel different from past ones. It will feel slower. It will feel safer. It will feel mutual. You will notice effort without asking, consistency without chasing, interest without confusion. At first, it may feel unfamiliar, because your nervous system has been conditioned by inconsistency. But unfamiliar does not mean wrong. It means new. God is not sending you another lesson disguised as love. God is sending you alignment. Psalm 37:4 says, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." You have desired peace. You have desired stability. You have desired to be chosen without begging. Those desires were heard. You may meet this new person through ordinary circumstances, a casual introduction, a routine environment, a simple moment. Nothing dramatic, but something will feel different. Your spirit will feel calm. No overthinking, no analyzing every word, no wondering where you stand. You will simply know. Before that unfolds, the universe is cleaning your energetic slate. That is why the past is resurfacing, not to trap you, but to clear you. You cannot pour new wine into old wineskins. Matthew 9:17 says, "Neither do people pour new wine into old wineskins. If they do, the skins will burst, the wine will run out, and the wineskins will be ruined. No, they pour new wine into new wineskins, and both are preserved. You are becoming a new vessel. Your heart has more capacity now. Your mind has more clarity. Your spirit has more discernment. You are ready for something better. The message from the person you love will serve as a final confirmation. A confirmation that you were never asking for too much. A confirmation that your love was real. A confirmation that you were worthy then and you are worthy now. After that confirmation, something in you will relax. And when you relax, you become magnetic. You stop chasing. You stop forcing. You stop over-explaining. You simply exist in your truth. That is powerful. You may also notice a shift in how you treat yourself. You will speak more kindly to yourself. You will rest without guilt. You will choose yourself without apology. That is self-love integrating, not the performative kind, the embodied kind. Heaven is proud of you, not because you are perfect, not because you never fall, but because you keep getting back up. You keep choosing growth. You keep choosing honesty. You keep choosing healing, even when it hurts. That takes courage. Before we move further, take a moment to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment below to affirm your readiness for what is unfolding. You are not being tested right now. You are being rewarded. Amen.